We're just waiting for all the attendees to join and then Simel, right? You can start. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, I think we can start, Simel. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and friends to this exciting side event at the Summit of the Future, where we will explore the transformative role of cooperatives in fostering equitable access to the digital economy. As you will have seen from the agenda, my name is Simel Ishim, and I'm delighted to moderate this opening session. As a first order of business, I would like to inform our participants that, in fact, we do have this session available in English as well as Spanish and French. There's interpretation. You will see this at the bottom of your screen in the globe sign. If you click there, you will find the French and Spanish. If you do not see by for some reason, this globe sign, which says interpretation underneath, then you can also go ahead at the very end under more and see about the translation option. I come from the International Labour Organization, and I head the Cooperative Social and Solidarity Economy Unit. The ILO is a co-founder of COPAC, the Committee on the Promotion and Advancement of Cooperatives, which has been around as a partnership of the United Nations and the International Cooperative Movement for over the last century. And today we gather at the pivotal moment just ahead of the second United Nations International Year of Cooperatives in 2025 to explore how cooperatives are advancing science, technology, innovation in service of advancing the Sustainable Development Goals. This side event is co-hosted by the Permanent Mission of Mongolia, Kenya, and the Committee for the Promotion and Advancement of Cooperatives, COPAC, and it aims to highlight the critical role of cooperatives in democratizing access to technology and innovation. And as we look forward the future, we see that cooperatives are not only partners in localizing the Sustainable Development Goals as community-based member, worker, user-owned initiatives, but they also offer innovative solutions that are grounded in the realities of their specific context, particularly in relation to reducing inequality, SDG 10, and promoting decent jobs for all, SDG 8. Uh, Cooperatives are enterprises where people are at the center, from small agricultural financial co-ops to global networks like the Mondragon in Spain. Existing cooperatives are adapting to changing times using online applications, digital tools, new technologies, but also new cooperatives are emerging among workers, users, communities in the field of technology and in the platform economy to ensure more democratic and participatory ownership and control. These adaptations, these innovations show that when people have control and ownership collectively, they can harness technology and improve their livelihoods and contribute to inclusive development. The role of youth in the cooperative movement also is very important in this regard. And young people bring energy, fresh ideas, technological know-how that can drive this cooperative's transformation and renewal. And their commitment to sustainability, the new generation's commitment to sustainability, aligns perfectly well with the cooperative principles and values of self-help, democracy, solidarity. With these points in mind, we will now hear from our distinguished speakers for the opening session. who will elaborate on how cooperatives, through technology, innovation, and youth engagement, are making real contributions to the future we all want. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker, His Excellency, Mr. Ankbayar Niamdorj. He's the permanent representative of Mongolia to the United Nations in New York. His Excellency has been in this position since July this year, when we met in person, and he held a number of positions in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, and most recently, and prior to this appointment, he was State Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of his country for 4 years. Your Excellency, you have the floor for your opening remarks.
Thank you very much for the introduction and invitation for me to attend this virtual conference. Distinguished colleagues and ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this virtual meeting. We also would like to thank the organizers, Kenya and community for the promotion and advancement of cooperatives, for good collaboration, and we are determined to continue our close cooperation in New York from now on and throughout the International Year of Cooperatives 2025 and beyond. I think the theme of this side event we are organizing in the margins of the Summit of the Future is very timely in two senses. First, the role of cooperatives in supporting the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals is huge, and it is particularly pivotal in reaching marginalized groups such as persons with disabilities, indigenous peoples as well, and youth as well. Today, there are 1.2 billion young people aged 15 to 24 years, accounting for 16% of the global population. By 2030, the number of youth is projected to have growth by 7% which is to nearly 1.3 billion. I think the youth is positive, very strong force for the development, and they need more just and equitable and progressive opportunities and access to education, health, gender equality, and employment. Cooperatives are business type which can provide decent employment for youth and that all can absorb them into the labor force in the market. Second, according to the World Economic Forum, small and medium enterprises acknowledge the importance of keeping up with the technological and innovation demands. Approximately 25% of SMEs cite this as a top challenge. Although new service-based models offer companies more cost-effective options and allow SMEs to take advantage of access to new technologies by paying fee of all subscription. SMEs and cooperatives still face barriers such as limited financial and human resources, inadequate access to essential infrastructure, and the absence of long-term vision and strategies regarding data management and privacy protection and cybersecurity. Therefore, technologically savvy young people could be a driving force of future cooperatives in transforming their use of science and then technology and bringing innovative solutions for improving the current value chain cycle of products and then service. Distinguished delegates, first established in 1920s, cooperatives in Mongolia have a long way from being state-controlled and managed enterprises for decades to being promoted as community-owned enterprises in the last 30 years. Currently, there are over 4,700 cooperatives nationwide, with a dominant number in agriculture and in livestock sector. The government's policy in this sector is to stabilize the SME and cooperative development increase finances, and improve competitiveness and market expansion, and introduce clusters, training, and incubation in advanced technology. The government and development partners are supporting the use of new technologies and innovation into activities of cooperatives. For example, in 2019, UN piloted a blockchain technology program with cooperatives and herder communities in Mongolia for creating sustainable market value chain for cashmere. Moreover, in April 2024, the government of Mongolia launched the new Cooperative and Wealthy Herders Program as a part of the parliament-approved law on mitigating the negative effects of climate change on traditional livestock husbandry. Under the program, the herders who become members of the cooperatives will be given 5 trillion Mongolian tugruk in soft loans until 2029 in collaboration with the commercial banks. And this year, 500,000 billion in loans are issued and then distributed to the cooperatives, and the process is ongoing. Furthermore, there is a good basis for focusing on youth, as the population of the country as a whole is relatively young, with the average age being 27.5 years, and about 59% of Mongolia's residents are under the age of 30. The youth outreach has been put in place to increase the number of youth in agriculture and other cooperatives, provide work opportunities of interest to youth, and enhance awareness about cooperatives, and meaningfully use the talent of youth. For instance, youth in provinces are encouraged to form small groups and have their own activities. The National Association of Mongolian Agriculture Cooperatives is engaged with various ministries in charge of cooperatives and signed with them MOUs, as well as with the universities, to give a lecture of cooperatives, agriculture, and provide opportunities for youth to experience cooperatives, and holds the competitive events among youth. Distinguished delegates, we believe that today's side event will serve a good base for discussing how cooperatives are leading the way in democratizing science and technology, contributing significantly to the SDGs, in particular its goal 10, namely on tackling inequality, and goal 8 on decent jobs for all, including youth, as well as the Pact for the Future, and highlighting new initiatives by member states to strengthen capacities, particularly in developing countries, to conduct scientific research and to adopt new technologies to improve capacities for sustainable development. Let me thank you again joining us online for this event, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your insightful introductory remarks. Next, I would like to invite Her Excellency Ms. Njambi Kinyungu, Chargé d'Affaires ad interim of the Permanent Mission of Kenya to the United Nations in New York, to share her opening remarks for this side event. Ambassador Kinyungu, you have the floor for your opening remarks.
Thank you, Simeo, for this introduction, and also to correct that I am now no longer the Chargé d'Affaires. I'm representing our ambassador, Kitela Lokale, who is the permanent representative, and he wishes as well in this event. He's not been able to join us because of a high-level delegation that is here for the UNGA. I acknowledge Ambassador Abdan Yabdoj, our co-host together with Kenya, permanent representative of Mongolia to the United Nations, and of course our co-host also the COPAC. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, who have also joined us online. I join Ambassador Nyamdod in really highlighting for the highlights that he has provided on the importance of cooperatives overall in development and also within the context of the theme of today. I would like to highlight also that cooperatives in Kenya have continued to play a major role in the socio-economic development of the country since the first cooperative movement was registered in 1908, and this was in dairy farming. Most Kenyans' lives have been positively impacted by cooperatives, and I believe that most lives also globally have been impacted on and are being impacted on by cooperatives. The cooperatives in Kenya control approximately 31% of the country's gross domestic product, with remarkable growth, particularly in cooperatives providing savings and credit services. The cooperatives, which we commonly call SACCOs, have mobilized savings to the tune of USD 8.6 billion. And by pooling these resources, cooperatives provide micro, small, and medium enterprises with much needed financing that might not be accessible through traditional banks. Cooperatives help to create jobs, stimulate local businesses, and build resilient economies, as well as retaining wealth within the community. Other cooperative enterprises, including in information, communication and technology, finance, housing, and health, present immense potential in promoting inclusive economic growth and achieving the SDGs, as well as the 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development. Cooperatives have a very important role to play, especially as we endeavor to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and with only 6 years left. So we believe that it is important to leverage on that potential. As we look to the future of cooperatives and promoting innovation and youth entrepreneurship, today's virtual side event, which of course Kenya is proud to co-organize and co-sponsor, provides a good platform to build momentum on the progress and highlight the opportunities of cooperatives. Ladies and gentlemen, my delegation proposes the following initiatives on how cooperatives can leverage on technology, innovation, and youth in order to strengthen the cooperative entrepreneurial ecosystem. First, it is important for cooperatives to introduce products and services that are attractive to youth, such as digital enterprises in arts, sports, agriculture, savings, and investments. These products and services should also be responsive in addressing youth issues and promoting their meaningful engagement in projects that align with cooperative values and address local context and dynamics. Second, more effort should be made in creating awareness of the social and economic opportunities of cooperatives, especially to the youth, by investing in training, community sensitization programs, curriculum integration in academia, research, and development. Fostering partnerships with youth organizations in order to attract more involvement and investment in cooperative societies is fundamental. Third, we must strengthen partnerships and sharing of best practices to build institutional capacity, develop regulatory frameworks, and promote access to digital tools and infrastructure in order to ensure everyone benefits from cooperative enterprises. Fourth, we must ensure robust collection and analysis of data to track progress on the socioeconomic benefits of the different types of cooperatives and identify gaps in order to inform evidence-based strategies to overcome emerging challenges and maintain efficiency in product and service delivery. In conclusion, cooperatives play an important role in harnessing the power of people to stimulate economic, social, and social growth. Through international cooperation, we can bridge the digital divide and realize the full potential of cooperatives into the future. Kenya therefore looks forward to strengthening partnerships as we move closer to commemorating 2025 as the International Year of Cooperatives. I thank you, Asante.
Asante. Thank you, Ms. Kinyungu, as Deputy Permanent Representative of the Permanent Mission of Kenya to the UN in New York, for your thoughtful opening remarks on behalf of His Excellency, the Permanent Representative of Kenya. Now we welcome Mr. Jerome Douglas, the Director General of the International Cooperative Alliance, to provide his perspectives. Mr. Douglas has held this role as Director General of the International Cooperative Alliance since the beginning of this year. And prior to this appointment, Mr. Douglas served as Executive Director of Solidaridad, a global network organization. Mr. Douglas, you have the floor for your opening remarks.
And thank you, Madam Chair. It's great to be here, Simel, and to the Excellencies. I would like to thank you, Mr. Nyamdiok and Madam Kyunyungyu, for your welcoming openings. Very pleased. And let me just remind all of us how pleased we are with this fantastic gift of the United Nations that we are entering into this international year. And we've met each other during the soft launch in New York, early July. So indeed, the International Cooperative Alliance is the organization that exists since 1895, one of the first global not-for-profit organizations. And it tries to answer those crisis components that lately were stipulated by the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Guterres, where he was sort of in a reflective mode is questioning in relation to this very summit of the future, what the power or what the influence of the UN today still is. And he was mentioning the three main problems as we are facing it on a global scale: peace and war, and the dysfunctioning of the Security Council, the climate change, and our apparent inability, unfortunately, to stay under the 1.5 degrees as agreed upon at the Paris Accord in 2015. And also when it comes to the Sustainable Development Goals, in the latest midterm review, the same Mr. Guterres indicated as Secretary General of the United Nations that only 17% of the targets have been realized. So actually, he gives food, and I think for good reasons, to indicate that globalization and multilateralism is in a certain situation of crisis. And I think it's honest to start the Summer of the Future with this mindset, because we have to deal with very big issues. The beautiful thing, of course, is that the movement of cooperatives is what we would call the globalization from below. And it's a unique hybrid model, and I will talk a bit more on it, that is currently flourishing at a fantastic pace. Over the last 10 years, it has a growth of around 4 to 6% per year in terms of membership. So the cooperative model is developing really good. So the essence indeed already mentioned of the cooperatives is a beautiful and very unique hybrid between, on the one hand, creating profits, and on the other hand, also having a not-for-profit purpose. You want to share wealth, but you first need to also create wealth. And in this dialectics, we can see thousands of beautiful examples worldwide whereby membership-leaded businesses also lead to investments that can be spread around local communities and distributed to communities, and communities themselves, vice versa, are also the owner of those cooperative enterprises. And as indeed already mentioned by our chair, I'm only in this organization since 9 months. And quoting Barack Obama, who said cooperatives are actually the best kept secret. And this is seriously, in my experience, I'm astounded every day again with the fantastic stories that come to us on schooling, on energy, on health systems, on supermarkets, on credit provision, on food, on forestry, on fishing. So there is so much going on. And the entire level of cooperatives are now creating 3 million cooperatives, 280 million direct jobs, and over 1 billion members. So leadership, in order to give further profiling to this movement, is absolutely key. And through the values already mentioned at the opening of solidarity and equity, inclusivity, and self-help, we need to build the dreams of the future generation. So it's a dream. And even within the cooperative movement, you could become a millionaire, but you will never become a billionaire. So it's based in the value system that it's about profit sharing. And the principles could really be welcoming for everyone. And the profit sharing can be really welcoming for everyone. And then in order to bring this unique model further, we need new developments, and those new developments are born by youth. And I give you just a few examples that I'm now witnessing over the last few months, and those examples are really driven by youth. So one example is indeed, as already mentioned, the digital cooperative platforms. Beautiful examples, and I just mentioned a few of them, are, for instance, driver.coop. It's an alternative from taxi drivers to replace those equity companies like Uber with ownership of taxi drivers themselves. We have another beautiful example, upandgo.coop, whereby workers in cleaning and housing support are organized themselves, and they themselves, instead of owning $11 per hour, are moving to $27 per hour. We're working also with Principle6.coop, also done by a lot of young people, whereby the use of artificial intelligence can help to interconnect the co-ops worldwide in a much better way. So the gig economy is another beautiful example how co-op workspaces are coming together in a beautiful way with young people. We have nature inclusive farming co-ops. A new young generation of farmers who are done with, let's say, toxic agriculture are moving to nature inclusive farming co-ops, and this is all supported. We have youth housing projects done by co-ops as well. So in other words, we need youth that has a purpose in the movement, and youth are looking for purpose. Purpose means, what kind of planet do we want, and what kind of society do we want? So all this together, if you look to where we stand, it's inspiring to see that youth is really taking over the leadership in the cooperative movement. And let me finish by saying that I invite all of you to join our global cooperative conference the last week of November in New Delhi, where we hope to shine the experience of the cooperative world through also a copathon for youth. There's bursaries available to have a very cheap fee entry cultural program, meet the future leaders of exchange in programs, be at the global launch, last but not least, of this very international year of cooperatives. So the global launch will take place in New Delhi, and we have high-level representatives from all over the world to celebrate and also to be aware at this solemn moment where the world will recognize and hails again the power of the cooperative movement as what I would say the proven scaled initiative that leads to an economy that truly works for all. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Jeroen, Director General of the International Cooperative Alliance, for these inspiring words and highlighting the role of co-ops, not only across sectors, across different sustainable development goals, but around the world in fostering innovation, also for sharing these exciting examples, which we will hear more of from our plenary speakers. Thank you to all our speakers for insightful opening remarks. As we heard from these opening remarks, co-ops are playing an essential role in playing a more inclusive and sustainable future. Their work aligns perfectly well with the goals set out by the Pact for the Future and the Global Digital Compact. As we look ahead to the International Year of Co-ops, these efforts will only become more critical. And of course, thanks to the Permanent Mission of Mongolia and Kenya, as well as COPAC, for this excellent collaboration in organizing this event. We now go into our panel discussion, as moderated by my colleague, Mr. Il-Chung Yi from the United Nations Research Institute for Social Development. UNRIST is not only a member of COPAC, but also a co-founder of the United Nations Interagency Task Force on the Social and Solidarity Economy. Over to you, Il-Chung.
Thank you, Shimel. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to this session, and I'm Il-Chung Yi, as introduced. In this session, we are going to focus on cooperatives and youth, which is a crucial topic that sits at the intersection of social innovation and youth empowerment. In a world where young people are often struggling with economic challenges, unemployment, and uncertainty, cooperatives can offer a unique transformative approach. Cooperatives provide not only an avenue for collective entrepreneurship and economic inclusion, but also, I think, foster the values of solidarity, shared ownership, and democratic governance. Cooperatives have long been a force of sustainable economic development, community resilience, and social justice. And today, more than ever, we are witnessing the potential of this model to unlock opportunities for young people. As we have seen in many places, youth with energy, creativity, and a fresh perspective can breathe new life into cooperatives, and cooperatives can offer young people a platform to build secure livelihoods, participate in decision-making process, and drive real social change. During this session, we will explore how cooperative can empower the next generation, examine best practices, and hear inspiring stories from 5 young leaders who are actively transforming their communities through cooperatives. I encourage all of you, we have 87 persons in this session, to engage with this discussion by sharing your ideas and asking questions in the chat box as we dive into this vital discussion. With your active participation, I think we can harness the power of cooperatives to create inclusive and sustainable futures for our youth. Thank you very much, and let's begin. We have 5 excellent speakers, and our first speaker is Tom Ivy here, Community Development Manager of .coop, and Tom is going to talk about youth and technology from the perspective of cooperatives. As we agreed, Tom, you have 10 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's my distinct pleasure to be here, and I would like to take a minute to recognize the excellencies and distinguished guests who have joined us here today, and also to extend my personal hello to the many familiar names I see in the attendees. It's wonderful to join you today. And so, yes, I thought this was a great opportunity to discuss a little bit about the role of technology in cooperatives and my experiences working within the global youth community, and also to talk about a couple of the projects that .coop will be launching in the next few months at the launch of the International Year of Cooperatives and through 2025 as well. So we've all seen that since 2020, there's been many rapid changes that we've needed to navigate, and the whole structure and the way that business worked has changed. From conception to end goal, the technology has become even more a necessary component of every organization's strategy. And when we pair this with the leap forward in technological processes that we've seen, it's contributed very much to a state that many recognize now as being one of digital transformation. And indeed, here at .coop, we released a video a few years ago entitled just that, Digital Transformation, as a call to adopt the cooperative identity tools, the .coop domain and the cooperative mark, particularly is to help organizations navigate the turbulent economic climate that we are still experiencing now and likely will be for some time. However, I like to quote a US entrepreneur, Mark Cuban, who says that whenever there is change, there is also opportunity. And this is certainly the case when it comes to technology. We see a projected increase on the global spend of digital transformation technologies and services to increase from 1.3 billion US dollars in 2020 to a projected 3.9 billion US dollars by 2027. As an indicator as well of increasing technological embedding, Microsoft's annual revenue globally has increased from 143 billion US dollars in 2020 to 245 billion US dollars today. So that's an increase of nearly 60%. So we can't escape the fact that alongside being just a support or an added asset to the workspace, technology is now becoming fully integrated and an indispensable part of the workspace. And particularly, I've seen from being involved in numerous youth and young persons groups and sessions and workshops and other activities over the years, that in the cooperative space, when we speak of young people, many of the youth are already successful and already navigating this turbulent times. They're already successful business owners, operators, and entrepreneurs, particularly in some of the most delicate and difficult sectors of work. So with these assets in the cooperative movement, we're in a great position to harness the fearlessness of the youth and the willingness to risk and to innovate, and the ease with which the youth make connections and make dynamic communication circles. And a lot of the work that we do here at .coop is aligned with that. So for those of you that don't know me, I've been at .coop now for 9 years. We are the organization that manages the .coop domain name, the .credit union domain namespaces, and the cooperative mark. And we are working on projects at the moment that are focusing on creating a synchronized world, which is to bring together communication assets to help with numerous parts of the cooperative movement, the cooperative identity, Principle 6, and also getting the word out about the great work that cooperatives are doing in promoting youth employment and also promoting responsible and useful work. The internet has grown exponentially, and we were a pioneer in securing the .coop domain space back in 2002 when there was only 20 domains available. There are now thousands available. And we have one of the only global verification systems that's available for processing cooperatives and allowing them to be verified in 93 countries worldwide. And then we have also, in the last few months, have relaunched together with the International Cooperative Alliance and EURIXI, the platform stories.coop, which is a website which is dedicated to celebrating cooperatives through storytelling. And we are connecting this asset with the other communications channels and the events that are happening not only this year, but also into next year to really tell the stories of cooperatives. And we encourage that everybody that has a story to tell, no matter if it's just about their own cooperative, but if it's about events and things that are happening next year, that they take a look at stories.coop and submit their stories and their applications for that, because they will be published as we go on. And then secondly, our major project, which will be coming up very soon, is a very exciting one that we've been developing this year called the Cooperative World Map. And the Cooperative World Map was designed to address key issues, which is the problems of data on the cooperative world movement. Where and what are the cooperative movement in the global level? The data has often been fragmentary and isolated and difficult to bring together into a cohesive picture. We also want to address the key issues of Principle 6 in the digital era, and how cooperatives can strengthen each other by cooperating amongst themselves, can see each other, be visualized, and also be an active member of their own data ownership. And lastly, cooperative identity as well. We've had a lot of feedback over the years from cooperatives that know they have a difference and they know they can make a difference, but they don't know how to articulate that or how to project it out to the world. So we are developing tools actively to try and give cooperatives the power to be able to highlight their identity and take that forward into the wider world. So we've developed this cooperative world map in collaboration with a partnership since 2020 between Dot Corporation and the Digital Commons Cooperative. And we will be launching this to celebrate the International Year of Cooperatives. It will act as a hub for cooperatives to promote their model strengths and to serve as an educational tool on the benefits of cooperation. We don't just see the possibilities of this map ending there. It is built on open source technology, and we are talking with numerous different cooperative organizations at the moment about the exciting platforms that can be built off this software to enable things such as apps and co-op-to-co-op trade and circular communities that will increase the connection and connectivity of cooperatives, and will also allow data sharing, equity, and ownership to take center stage, allowing membership bodies and apex organizations to share data, events, research, and more, and allow their members to be visible, particularly to the external public, and also to keep ownership of their own data and equity, and to be an active participant in their own digital footprint. So some dates to have at forefront of your mind in the coming months is we will be doing a soft launch of this at the first week of October, and I will put some links that you will be able to see this in the chat before I finish. And then we are aiming for a full launch in the last week of November, which will have the map standing by itself on a standalone website to be viewable there. And if you are also a member of an organizational body and you would like to be a participant in this, then please do get in contact with me. We are gathering data at the moment ready for the launch. So yeah, I will also put my contact details in the page there. So we can't wait to hear from you, and we are very excited with the opportunity that technology will provide, particularly in improving cooperatives' visibility, communication, and ability to provide good and ethical work for the youth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. And we have second speaker, who is Francesca Martinelli, Director of Central Doc Foundation, who is going to talk about opportunities for youth in European context from the perspective of cooperatives. You have 5 minutes, Francesca. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. And talk about Europe, youth, and technology is a big deal, but it's important to remember that when talking about young people and cooperatives, it's important to remember that the values brought forward by young people are a huge opportunity for the cooperative world. It is part of a DNA of cooperatives to focus on people, the environment, and social issues. And this focus appears in the principles that guide cooperatives, as well as in the shared values that look towards building a more equitable, participatory, and sustainable world. If we add to this theme of the new technologies and digital and bring it to Europe, we can see that important opportunities open up for young people. We are all well aware that the exponential growth and spread of new digital technologies based on massive use of data, such as big economy platforms and emerging artificial intelligence tools, have led to a long series of problems around the world, such as the exploitation of workers who suffer a lack of access to labor protections, while data are collected by multinationals and used for their own purposes, leading to the loss of ownership, autonomy, and control of one's data, the violation of privacy, and the risk of validation of prejudice or discrimination, as in the case of social networks algorithms that can steer public opinion. Some studies have also drawn attention to the environmental issue, describing the impact of artificial intelligence in CO2 production as enormous. Starting from this picture, one of the great advantages of Europe is the pioneering role that the European Union is playing in addressing these issues. Through the introduction of targeted directives and regulations, the European Union has now for years been regulating the behavior that member states must have towards these instruments and, at the same time, also limiting the power of the companies behind these instruments. Following are some examples. Since 2018, the GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, has strengthened the protection of the personal data of a European Union and citizens, giving them back control on their personal data. From 2022, the Digital Service Act addresses illegal content, transparent advertising and disinformation, and the Data Governance Act, which aims to create a framework to facilitate data sharing, introduce also data cops as a type of data brokerage service. Finally, this year has come into force the Platform Work Directive that regulates platforms by imposing certain criteria to define that workers are considered as employees, rules for the management of the algorithm, and transparency in the use of data. And the AI Act strengthens research and industrial capacity in the field of artificial intelligence while protecting security and the rule of law. But why can cooperatives be an opportunity for young people in this pioneering path of the European Union? Among my various activities, I also coordinate the Transformation of Work working group of CCOP, the European Confederation of Industrial and Service Cooperatives, and we study and are studying the impact of directives and regulation on cooperatives, and we find out that they are already perfectly compliant with EU requirements precisely because of their principles and values. The strength of cooperatives when using data, artificial intelligence, or new technologies is that they are guided by an ethic that leads them to manage the tools in a way that responds to the needs of the person, which they put at the center, and not of profit, which is instead a means to achieve certain shared ends. The correspondence that exists in cooperatives between those who own the technology and those who work in it make it possible to manage ethically all the problems I presented above, because no one creates a platform or a technology for themselves that exploits them or is not transparent in its management. And this cooperative approach to technology and digital is much closer to the worldview the young people have than the one of the large monopolistic and competitive realities to which we are more accustomed and which are now dominant. In conclusion, the alternative paradigms brought forward by cooperatives within the EU framework of directive and regulations, if well supported and valorized, can represent a different path for those young people who do not find themselves in the dominant models and that they are looking for a tool to intervene in the world as protagonists of change, the change which is necessary to achieve the goals of sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesca. And our next speaker is Salma Hachimi Alawi, the president of Innovation Cooperative, which designs and manufactures sustainable lithium batteries in Morocco. Salma will talk about opportunities for youth in African context from the perspective of cooperatives. Salma, floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I will share. Can you look at my screen?
Yeah, I can see
Can you
your
see my
screen.
screen?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you all. My name is Hashimi Alawi Salma, and I'm the president of Innovation Cooperative in Morocco. I am very delighted to be with you here today, and I want to thank the UN Committee for the promotion and advancement of cooperatives and all the organizers for the important event. So I am representing Innovation Cooperative in Morocco. We are a team of 8 members, entrepreneurs and engineers, and we stem from an entrepreneurship university club in Morocco. And we decided to transform our entrepreneurial dreams into reality by creating the cooperative Innovation. So our central aspect of work is our initiative is addressing an environmental issue related to the improper disposal of used lithium cells and its impact on the environment, knowing that one lithium cell retain about 80% of its capacity after its first life cycle. So through a circular approach, we exploit this capacity to regenerate the cells and manufacture new batteries that can be used for electrical bikes and scooters and also solar devices. So at Innovtension, we represent a worker cooperative model, meaning we are both the employees and the owner of our business. Invest in our cooperative. So at Innovtension, we are working with an innovative cycle. We are working on innovative cycle to fuel our activities. We use our engineering expertise and skills to afford trainings under local PLC brand, our local PLC brand in industrial automation and robotics engineering. So this year we engaged 100 learners through our local PLC brand in 14 countries over Africa. And using this activity this training, affording this training, online training, we generate revenues that can we use to invest in our core activity of battery. So yes, Innovtension is a model sent as a model of promote in Morocco, in our country. We are also contributing to reducing waste, and also we are contributing to job creation. We're planning to create 24 jobs in the upcoming years. And also we afford trainings and internships for the fresh graduates. This year we had 3 interns for web developments and technical assessments. Some of our achievements: we have participated in the 13th Africa Ministerial Cooperative Conference in Massiro, Lesotho. We have won the national prize of Lala Mutaawina provided by the ODECO in Morocco. And just to say, through our work, we actively contribute to the SDGs, driving economic dynamism and innovation. But we are just in the beginning of our journey and still have a long way to go. But we aim to foster development in our country, across Africa and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Salma. Wonderful story about evolution from the university lab to the company. Very good, excellent story. Our fourth speaker is Kishore Kumar, Chief Project Coordinator at the Ularungal Labor Contract Cooperative Society, or ULCCS, in India. Unfortunately, though, Kishore's flight was delayed and could not be with us today. But he kindly sent us video, and here is Kishore's voice on opportunities for youth in Asian context. I think we have kind of very small technical problem.
Yes, sorry, just 1 second.
Can you go for 5th speaker instead of video?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Maybe you can go
Sure.
for 5th speaker first before this video. Our fourth speaker is Lucila Dominguez, Cooperative Desarrollo Digital, FACTIC, Argentinian Federation of Technology, Innovation, and Knowledge Work Cooperatives. Lucila will talk about cooperatives for youth in Latin American and Caribbean context. Lucila, floor is yours.
Thank you all. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you
Okay.
clearly.
Okay, I'm going to share a small presentation. Thank you all for having me today. I hope you're having a good morning, afternoon, or evening. And I'm going to talk today about FACTIC, which is the Argentine Federation of Technology, Innovation, and Knowledge Worker on Cooperatives. We are in FACTIC over 35 cooperatives. We gather over 500 professionals from different disciplines, and we are in 10 out of 24 provinces that our country has. Our objectives at the Federation are first to develop technology taking into account our social, political, cultural, and economic needs. Grow collectively, maintaining solidarity and responsibility in our projects, to make an impact on the economy and society through ICT. And fourth, strengthen and accompany the creation and stabilization of new technology-based cooperatives. And today, since we are talking about the youth and how to include it, I want to focus on these four objectives and share a few initiatives that we have to achieve it. First, we have incubation and advocacy initiatives at the Federation. First, we have a seed pool. We are working on a platform very similar to LinkedIn, in which with gender perspective, which is super important to include diversity and different profiles interested in cooperativism and technology in the cooperatives. Basically, it's meant for cooperatives who are looking for new members to be able to look for them there, and for people who is interested in the cooperative movement to be able to reach out to us and share their CVs, because one of the main problems that we have is to find new people that are interested in the movement and that want to contribute in it. And of course, another problem is the inclusion of new people in the technology industry, especially junior profiles and young profiles. So we have this platform that is about to be launched. A second initiative that we have at the Federation is incubation platforms and initiatives, which are specific cooperatives working on different platforms and courses or oriented to train people into software development, but at the same time train people into cooperativism, so they can build either their own cooperative or be included in one of the existing cooperative of the networks. And third, we provide talks, presentation, and other cooperativism promotion activities at school, university, vocational training centers, and public events, because we really think that these are the places when we should go and speak about cooperativism, because in different careers related to economy, company, enterprises and such, cooperativism is not included. So it's our job to go and spread the word about that. This is a viable model. And second, of course, it's really important to have new cooperatives, but we are working on cooperatives, so without work, the cooperative doesn't work. So we have specific initiatives that are currently working on finding us new works and job opportunities. So at FACTIC, first we had an internationalization strategy in which we contributed to the creation of Patio. Patio is the global network of technology-based worker-owned cooperatives. Today, more than 90 cooperatives are part of the network, and we are present in over 25 countries. And several of the cooperatives on FACTIC are actively participating in the network. Either FACTIC or Patio, both of them are focused on finding new job opportunities, and we do this through different initiatives. We have business development teams in both the networks, which actively work on finding new opportunities. And we also have shared jobs channel in which, for instance, if a cooperative have a project in which they need different kind of profiles, you can raise your hand and you can intercooperate. Both the networks really sustain by finding intercooperative shops, because we believe that this is what allows us to include the younger profiles, right? So if we are talking about including the youth and also having new cooperatives, it's really hard to be competitive because now the industry has grown a lot. So basically the way we found to include these younger and junior profiles is through intercooperative works, because this allows us to build intercooperative team with senior profiles and junior profiles that achieve the goals that the projects have, and the client doesn't suffer for it, and the junior profile can thrive and learn from senior profiles. And finally, of course, we participate in events and trade missions, which allows us to make business, find new projects, meet new people, and eventually have more work. Thank you very much on behalf of Patio and Factic and my cooperative, which is called Naira. It was a pleasure and an honor to be here, and that's it.
Thank you, Lucila. Can you have Kishore's presentation video now?
Brothers and sisters, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm from a worker cooperative, namely ULCCS, from southernmost district of India. ULCCS started its journey 100 years back in a village with 14 members. We crossed yearly turnover 300 million USD last year. We diversified into infrastructure development, information technology, education, geriatric care, handicrafts, material testing lab, etc. Our experience shows that cooperatives have unique potential to leverage technology, innovation, and youth engagement to advance the sustainable development goals. As a 100-year-old worker cooperative, we always welcome technologies and innovation to our organization. Started with tiny projects, the early days of the inception, we accepted mechanization, then automation, and finally digitalization to ensure sustainable growth and creation of jobs. Digital transformation usually starts with the conversion of information and processes. The COVID-19 pandemic also sped up the adoption of technologies, data management systems to improve record keeping, track performance, and streamline operations. Online platforms enable cooperatives to access broader market, increasing their visibility and sales potential. There are so many energy solutions. Renewable energy technologies such as solar panels and wind turbines definitely help cooperatives to reduce their carbon footprint and energy costs. Nowadays, cooperatives use fintech solutions for efficient financial management, including mobile banking services for their members and transparent financial operations. Cooperatives have a new opportunity to reimagine how and where work is done, thinking through specific work areas and occupational activities by recruiting and retraining based on skills and experience rather than academic degrees. As the share of independent worker grows, more innovation may be required to secure benefits for them. See one of the reports of McKinsey. By 2030, 75 million to 375 million workers, that will be 3% to 14% of the global workforce, will need to switch occupational categories. Some of that adaptation will require higher education attainment or spending more time on activities that require social and emotional skills. Creativity, high-level cognitive capabilities, and other skills relatively hard to automate. Automation technologies including artificial intelligence and robotics will generate significant benefit for users, businesses, and economies, lifting productivity and economic growth. Cooperatives should invest in research and development to develop new products or services that address specific local needs. Establishing innovation hubs within cooperatives can foster creative solutions and entrepreneurial ventures among members. We created startup ecosystem to support young talents in our UL Cyber Park. So we have to make partnership to improve. Collaborate with tech companies, research institutions, and NGOs to foster innovations. We, in association with ICA Asia Pacific, started Cooperative Hackathon to attract young talents. Adopting sustainable technologies and practices such as circular economy model can help cooperatives to contribute more to sustainable development goals through responsible consumption and production. The first information technology enabled services special economic zone campus in the cooperative created by us is certified by Indian Green Building Council as gold rated campus. So one of the main target of ULCCS is to attract young to the cooperative platform. Encourage youth to take on leadership roles within the cooperatives and their communities. We follow the same concept and brought youngsters to our board of directors. We established Indian Institute of Infrastructure and Construction to provide skill training to the young job seekers. In our UL Cyber Park, we established startup ecosystem to create and flourish new ideas and entrepreneurs. Regarding sustainable development goals, we achieved 13 out of 17 sustainable development goals. By integrating technology, fostering innovation, and harnessing the dynamism of youth, cooperative can significantly advance the sustainable development goals and contribute to shaping a sustainable and inclusive future. Thank you.
Thank you, Kishore. Even though we couldn't have you, but your passion and spirit are with us today. And now we are going to have interactive discussion and Q&A. And my colleague, Joseph Nzuguna from International Cooperative Alliance will co-moderate this session. Joseph?
Yes, thank you, Il-Chung, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And I also want to pass our great thanks to the Excellencies, the permanent representative of Mongolia to the United Nations, and also the representative of Kenya to the United Nations. We appreciate you, and also the colleagues from COPAC. It's a great pleasure. Thank you to the speakers. It was such a great way to listen to you giving cases and practical cases, excellent examples of what you're doing, and how it shows how very practical cases from various industries and sectors and regions on how cooperatives are leveraging technology and also promoting youth and supporting the young people in this digital age. And I also am very happy also from these cases that we are listening to that they are also aligned with the theme that we had this year for the International Day of Cooperatives, that cooperatives build a better future for all. And from these cases, we see that there is still a future. You know that our Director General started with opening remarks on how some of the challenges that the world is going through, and people are wondering, are we moving in the right direction? And at least there's still some hope that cooperatives are providing solutions to some of the global challenges that we are going through. And it was, so I just wanted to say thank you to the speakers, and a few questions that we have received we have received a question from Egide Nyosamba. I will maybe throw it to any of you, to the speakers. Feel free to respond, to jump in. And his question is, what do you plan for cooperatives, especially agricultural ones, in developing countries? And he's giving an example in Burundi, where he comes from. The cooperative movement has just experienced new growth and its promotion through the hills of the country. In total, the available cooperative statistics are around 16,000. So his question is, what do you plan for cooperatives, especially in agriculture in developing countries? And if it is related to the topic of today, is in terms of technology and innovation, and maybe how the agricultural cooperatives can take advantage of the available tools to support their members and including also their customers. So maybe we can start with Tom, if you have an answer to this, and if also the other speakers, based on your regions, Do you have maybe an answer on how you can, how your cooperatives or other cooperatives that are also dealing with technological issues, how they support agricultural cooperatives? Maybe let's take a cue from Tom first.
Certainly, yes. No, that's a very interesting question and a very pertinent one, I think. So a lot of the tools that we provide are aimed really at being able to show equitable examples from all sorts of different areas of the world. As I said before, .coop domains and .credit union domains and the cooperative mark are used in 93 countries at the moment. And really the project of the Cooperative World Map is designed to answer that question exactly, to showcase communities working in rural environments and from all areas of the world. So we will be working with communities and membership bodies all across Africa and particularly South America and the Asia and Pacific region to bring together as much data as we can on these economies and to showcase them on the map so that they become visible not only to each other, but also to other regions surrounding them and to the wider cooperative movement as well. So I think that's a very pertinent question, and I look forward very much to working with any organizations in those areas to gather as much data as we can to give a good representative example on the map and make sure that every cooperative is as visible as it can be.
Thank you so much, Tom. I don't know if any of you, Salma, Lucille, Francesca, if you want to jump in.
Well,
If not, oh, okay, go on. Thank you.
Well, concerning the agricultural field, or I'm not I'm not working on that topic, but I was taking sometimes to read also the questions, the other questions, and I read the question of Monica Hernandez, and that as the problem of fake cooperatives, let's say, in she's talking about this topic, and this is a topic that we are currently addressing in Italy. We also have this problem of reputation. And above all, in Italy, the problem is related to the fact that we have some cooperatives that are used by criminals to obtain better taxes, better opportunities, because in Italy there are some advantages in creating cooperatives at taxation level. And so there is a contract between the Minister of Development, Economical Development, and the Trade Association of Cooperatives to control this kind of cooperative and try to find out which these cooperatives are. And every 2 years, all the cooperatives are controlled by this trade association, and they have to answer certain requirements in order to be approved and recognized as cooperatives. So there are many corrections that can be done. It's not only, I think, an issue related to democratic organization, but it's an issue more related to the fact that the whole organization can be compromised by people who don't trust in the principle. So in Italy, the only solution is to have these meta organizations, let's say, this trade association that manage the issue. And maybe, I don't know how it can be replicable, but it's very difficult for the cooperative autonomously to face this situation alone. So I think the organization can be a support in that.
Okay, thank you so much, Francesca. And I think I'll go to the next question. And this one, I think I can address it to Lucille. There's a question from, let me get the name right, from Monica Hernandez. And I will just summarize it to where the question is in English. Are there any actions that are being promoted and are replicated to strengthen cooperatives from the basis in their governance in order to have strong organizations in internal democracies. And just to see from your own perspective from Argentina, is there maybe a case that you can share, and how also from some of the examples that you have shared with us from FACTIC that you think can be replicated even in other regions?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I resonated a lot with what Francesca said, what Francesca replied, and also with the question. I don't know where Monica is from, but I felt like she was from Argentina too. Yeah, we are going through a really rough time here because the same is happening. I think what we can do is, at least what we are actually doing in FACTIC, is just go and speak about our work and share what we have. A really pragmatic way of doing things in FACTIC, because we are many cooperatives, but we are really small ones. So, and we work very, Argentina is a huge country and we work very territorially. So basically what we do, our cooperatives and the federation, is participate in different public spaces, share what we do, show our work, and show that we are real cooperatives. I don't think there is a way to prevent these false cooperatives to be created, because as Francesca said, we have there are advantages related to taxes, but we can share what we do and show our work. I think that what we do, we work. Basically, we are worker-owned cooperatives. All of us are workers, and we can preach with the example and show around what we are doing. I don't think there is a way, if there aren't public policies that prevent this to happen, or public observancy, there isn't that much that we can do as individual cooperatives. But this again, preach with the example, show what our work, work with the networks, and defend the cooperative movements from the militancy, basically. And regarding what we can do, like how we can share, or how we can replicate our experience. There is the Patio network is a global network, and this is amazing because it serves like a contingency net for cooperatives in country where there isn't any federation, or there are countries in which maybe the cooperative that is participating in Patio is the only cooperative, technology-based cooperative in their country. So it's a good network for people that don't have that network in their territory. Intercooperation is something that everyone can do in their own countries, because you don't need to be you don't need to have many cooperatives that do the same. If you there are cooperatives everywhere, basically. So go and reach out to cooperatives that you have near, and share work and share experiences. And I think it's a really good way to build that network, and this is easily replicated in other countries. Sorry. So yeah, and we as FACTIC and as Patio can help with that. So of course, if any of you have any concern, or we can help with that, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lucille. I can see Il Chong wants to intervene because I think we are running out of time. I'll just take one more question, Il Chong, if you allow. And this question, I also maybe ask the same question, but in a different way to Salma, because you have shared a very successful model that you're doing in Morocco. And how do you think it can be replicated elsewhere and even in other African countries? So just to share, how do you think maybe what is that lesson that you'd say that you want to encourage other young people in African continent or everywhere, how they can replicate your model?
Thank you for your question. So yes, this model is very important since it empowers youth in the employability. So how it can be replicated in different regions is by capacity building. I think this is important to orient the vision of youth to this very important model, because youth not all youth know about this model. We should promote cooperative model for youth and improve their skills, their entrepreneurial skills, and also share with them how they can apply for this and promote and create solutions for the problems in Morocco, in the countries, Africa, the environment, economic challenges.
Thank you so much, Salma. And I'll be heading over to Ilchong. And maybe a question that I think, Tom, you can respond also on the chat is from Victor Oyegeke. He wanted to know also about the start.com because you mentioned it and how it can be replicated in other developing nations or maybe globally. So that is something maybe you can answer on the chat. So, but for the interest of time, I hand over to Ilchong.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for your brilliant moderation of this Q&A. And we often say, can you hear me, by the way? Okay. We often say youth are the future, but I don't think youth are the future. Youth are the present and the future. You are playing a significant role in making everything possible in the present, and I hope in the future too. Thank you all 5 presenters, and thank you all audience who have been actively participating in this Q&A and discussion. Thank you very much. And I give the floor to our colleagues of UNDESA for closing session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Il Chong, and everybody who has spoken before me in this. It's been very inspiring to listen to what's happening and to know that there's so many connections globally. And I would be interested to know, but I'm not asking it as a question now, just as a comment, to what extent all the people who have spoken today, .com, the speaker from Morocco, Argentina, to what extent you're all linked internationally and working collaboratively. And if it's not so, I think it would be absolutely wonderful if you were to do so, just from what I've been hearing today. I would like to then ask if there's any closing remarks. I'd like to give the floor to ambassadors who spoke earlier. If they have any closing remarks, we'll go in reverse order to what we started with. So would Kenya like to say something to close today's session? I'm sorry, it was not in the program, so I'm just throwing a surprise at you. So if Kenya wanted to make a closing remark, you have the opportunity to do so. Or if Mongolia would like to make a closing remark, you have an opportunity to do so too. Otherwise, I would like to, on behalf of the Committee for the Promotion and Advancement of Cooperatives, to thank everybody for attending this lively and very informative discussion, and to say that we will be following up with you as we commemorate the International Year of Cooperatives 2025, because a lot of the initiatives that you have been speaking about are initiatives that should be promoted globally. We'd like a lot more young people to learn about this. And it's also going to be, it's a major issue, actually, I should say, in the ongoing Pact for the Future, the Summit of the Future. Leaders are talking exactly about how to include young people and in their concerns and their initiatives, their ideas into a Pact for the Future, because after all, the future is yours. And as Il Chong said, the present is also yours. So you are present, future, and hope for everybody else. Now we have our website, copac.coop, which we'll be updating regularly from now on, and it will have a lot of information on what's going to be taking place during the International Year of Cooperatives. So if you have any questions, comments, please join us at copac.coop for to further this discussion. Thank you, everybody, very much. Have a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.